From sunrise until sunset, and dusk until dawn, every minute of every hour of every day, on the front line, it's key workers keeping our country moving, putting themselves at risk to keep others safe, for the vulnerable, for the sick, for the young and the old. We rise to the challenge. We care, we protect, we help, we fix, we deliver for everyone. We will get through this, and it's thanks to our key workers. We're proud to represent heroes, and not all heroes wear capes. Key workers deserve recognition, protection and support. Get us on your side. Join us today.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining our GMB members, Hermes national broadcast. Speaking to everybody tonight. We've got a bit of a packed agenda, which I'll go through in a minute, but really pleased that you can all join us and where we can have an honest discussion about the offer from the company regarding pay and other matters as a package that has been put forward to us. So Steve, who's in the background doing a great job working this system. Steve, could you just go to the first slide, please? Hi, Steve. Oh, we've got a technical glitch by the sounds of it. Steve Garlick, can you just go to the first slide, please? Well, obviously, it appears that we've got some technical glitches and that we can't speak to our person who's operating the system. So I'm just going to pull it up, and you won't be able to see it because I don't have the ability to share the system with you. But unless Steve is back, Steve, can you now hear us? Steve Garlick. Okay. No, we can't. Sorry about this, everybody. But look, here goes. What I want you to do is you can see my colleagues that are on the system. Your GMB team of national reps, and today we've just been notified that we have another national rep that's been appointed to the vacancy for our Yorkshire region. So we've just informed the company. So welcome as well, colleague. So there's welcoming and introductions to people that are here. Everybody's going to have to try and get in and try and have a contribution towards tonight's event. So sorry about some of the technical issues that are there, but so we've been meeting members. We've been having Zoom meetings with members, all through our regions. And it's been really pleasing, some of the discussions that have been taking place. There's been some frank points of view raised with people about a number of issues, but generally it's been welcome and engaging in terms of the discussions that have been taking place. And I think people are becoming clear about the potential around the options that people have. So thank you to everybody that's so far taken place in the consultations, whether that's been DU visits, whether that's been Zoom meetings with members in the regions. So thank you for giving up your time and coming. Those that have sent in emails and other messages, and of course we've sent out frequently asked questions on this, and of course we've sent out quite a bit of information via email to everybody so that people can actually see all the documentation that is in existence. So what we want to do is we want to try and get as many questions in from people, but what we just want to do is remind people what the choices are, and the choices what members face. So the fact of the matter is, we have been recognized by the company for a little over 2 years now. And in that time, we've been trying to build. Also, during that time, we got severely hampered with as an organization because of the pandemic, where actually it was ruled illegal that we couldn't get out to DUs or other places because of the restrictions that were being imposed on people at that time. So in some respects, that face-to-face contact that trade unions rely on within the workplace was just taking place over virtual meetings. And that has not been a wholly acceptable position, because we are here to actually meet and discuss with colleagues and listen to their problems. And, you know, and we faced quite a number of issues, some horror stories that we are hearing on a daily basis about what is happening within this particular sector. And I think what people, what we all need to remind ourselves, that this is a gig economy company. It's not a direct employed model. It engages people on services that have very little or no rights whatsoever. So there has been a cultural problem grown up over 20 odd years of this business, from previously from ParcelNet to Hermes, and to turn that issue around and to tackle all those problems, it is a constant challenge. Some we've been able to rise to some of those challenges, some that we're still stuck on because of people's fear, lack of information or lack of clarity. So it has been a bit of a problem, but you know, things that we're hearing on a daily basis where exploitation is actual right. So we're actually pleased in some respects that people have now got a voice where you can talk to people. And sometimes as well, we also recognize that because of the way you work and the circumstances where you work, there's sometimes people confuse sometimes sounding off as an attack on people, where actually it's because you've got very little room to talk to other people in other settings and in other forums that will potentially understand the similar problems that you're going through. So I personally understand that. So the choices that people have got are quite stark. It's not whether about this offer is brilliant or not at the end of the day. It's about how do we all move forward collectively in unity. And there's two stark issues here. Firstly, our agreement with Hermes does not allow us to negotiate on rates per se. It does not allow that. It doesn't give full collective bargaining in that sense. And what we are trying to do here is change the parameters, which gives you all a say in how things are decided for the future. Because what you have now are individualized, so-called negotiated rates, which we all know that never really took place, and where more people are threatened with pay cuts actually than pay rises. And these have been individually negotiated with your CDMs or in the past with FMs. We're trying to change that. We all know that people are working alongside each other in the same locations, and everybody's on an individualized rate of pay, that no one can say that is why those people deserve that money or those people deserved that type of money. And there are huge variances between colleagues that are working alongside each other. And this is not, this is replicated right throughout the country, that it's actually wrong, it's unfair, and it's unjust. So the issue is that what we are trying to do is trying to change that gig economy, exploitative, unfair, and unjust model, and put in place something that everybody understands and that everybody recognizes is a fairer system and is a fairer model. And that, couriers that are working alongside each other in different areas know actually what the job pays. And that is what people get. So those are the two choices. So one choice is we can all move forward collectively and get some form of proper collective bargaining over rates and a pay model that suits everybody for the future. Or that actually, that if people don't want that, and we fully accept and appreciate that there may be people that may not want that type of model. They may prefer their individualized rates model. They may prefer just actually dealing personally with their own CDMs on that. And we fully accept that. So it's not really about the choices of whether this is absolutely brilliant or whether that's absolutely wrong. What the choices are is where do we go for the future, and how do we deal with this? We think members want a proper collective bargaining model that treats couriers with respect and that pays and pays reasonably well for the work that you produce and the productivity that you undertake. And that's where we are around that. Now, there are a couple of things that I think we also need to explain, and we'll just go through those in some clarity. So if we can move to slide number 2, Steve, please, and then we could just go through a little bit more in detail. I promise you're not going to be hearing me all night or everybody else. We want to get as many questions in as possible. So let's just analyze exactly what there is. There has never been a pay rise or an offer of a pay rise made collectively to couriers in Hermes and prior to that, ParcelNet's history. There never has been. This is the first time something has taken place where it's across your PRGs, i.e. your rates, which cover all the rates of the products that you deliver and also including your collections. Is it brilliant? Could it be better? Well, of course we want better. Of course we all aspire to negotiate more for it for everybody. But this is a package. This is just a small part of that package. This affects 14.3 thousand couriers that are SE plus and worker status. And there is £10 million of new money that is into that funding that will uplift those PRGs. We've protected rates until the end of May 2022. Why have the company only agreed to a 3-month extension? Well, firstly, it now covers all SE plus couriers. Previous, it didn't. This now covers all SE plus couriers. The second issue associated with this, because it's also on the other part of the package, which is about getting a new collective-based pay model for couriers. And there are a couple of things about that. Firstly, if people accept this offer, we will immediately, in early January, start the consultations with couriers. We will hold virtual meetings. We will do DU visits again, talking about what type of model do people want to see. Now, we've heard various things that people want to see: regionalized pay banding and things like that. So at least it starts to equalize what people are receiving. That's just one element. There's lots of other different elements as well that we can all go through, but we are interested in what do you think. Not only will that take place, we will then continue to hold a series of meetings with people whilst the negotiations with the company take place around this new pay model, so that people can keep informed. People will it won't just be dropped on them at the last minute. And by May, if those negotiations have been successful, everybody will receive a ballot. You will have the final say as members on what will take place. And of course, you know, what we've also managed to try and achieve is protection of services and rounds for those that may be on maternity or paternity leave, jury service, TAs and reservists. So we've added to the protections that are there. If we go to the next slide, Steve, please. And I'm going to bring a couple of colleagues in as well so that they can deal with a couple of these things. So, Bob and Angela, you've been meeting lots of members very recently and doing lots of meetings on Zoom and stuff like that. Can you just go through some of your experiences and also on some of those issues there and just give us what your thoughts are? If we start with you, Angela, and then I'll come to you, Bob.
Okay, so a lot of people asked about bank holidays. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. The bank holidays, yeah, they wanted them to be mandatory. So we fought and we got them to be voluntary still. And yes, it's only a small incentive now, whereas before you get £25 a round. It's fairer, it's a fairer pay. So, like somebody said earlier, if somebody's doing 30 parcels, they're getting £25. But somebody who was doing 130 parcels was also getting £25. So now getting an extra 25p per parcel makes it a lot fairer.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's a really good point. I mean, there are some people that thinking that bank holidays were mandatory, you know, and that it's become the new norm. Actually, the vast majority of our members don't want to do this unless it's some sort of voluntary system, and so that's where the monetary items are attached to that. And we need to be careful about this because the company actually did, as Angela said, want it to be mandatory. And of course, they also wanted to name certain specific days where it would always be mandatory. Prior to that, it could be when the company opened on that day or not. So it was just, it wasn't very secure. And it's not a very good way of giving people a proper choice in some respects. Bob, some of the things that you've been picking up, talking to people and around some of the points on there. What you know, what are you picking up?
Excuse me. The diesel index. We're getting quite a lot of questions about the diesel index, asking if whatever the rate is, can it go down as well as up? You know, can it fluctuate? And
yes.
Well, yes, it can. And I've explained this. My personal opinion on this is I can't see it falling much lower in in the near future. Fossil fuel cars, they're trying to get rid of them. They're trying to shift everyone over to either hybrid or electric or anything. So I can only see the cost of fuel rising. Also, at the moment, it's only reviewed annually, whereas if this deal is a yes, it'll be an immediate review and then followed by quarterly every year, which can only be a good thing as far as I'm concerned. What else we got now? Sorry. Right, the packet racket misbandings. Now, the most common theme I'm seeing and I'm hearing, is people are getting annoyed that I don't want to lose my upgrade. I don't want to lose my money for upgrading. Upgrading was never a thing how do I explain this? It was never. It was a temporary fix. Okay, you will still be able to upgrade genuine misbanded parcels. Now you don't even have to take it out of the depot until you are convinced that you've seen the proof that it is on the correct banding. As for the HSP, you've got the right to challenge. You have the right to challenge all of these claims. I mean, as long as you've taken the picture, you're within geo, the end of life is there. Hermes can see that for themselves. You have the right to check, to query, to anything when it comes to claims to yourself. And also, if it's a day the app isn't working, get yourself an INC number. You've protected yourself. That's me, I think.
No, cheers, Bob. I mean, I think that's given a good explanation. Tracy, what about yourself? I mean, you've been visiting lots of depots in the delivery units in the last couple of weeks and that, and what are you finding on the ground when members are raising different issues with you?
To be fair, a lot of them hadn't even read the newsletters that came out. They didn't know nothing about the pay deal. I'm having to explain. And when I've explained, they've kind of got the gist. I've explained that you need to be a GMB member to have your say in the vote of how you want to be paid, obviously. A lot of people have joined on that basis after I've explained. And the fact that I am actually a courier, they can relate a little bit more. They didn't quite understand how the PRG, that it wasn't just on packets that was getting it, it was across the board. I've explained how Susie did her graph and how much extra they'll be earning, which was, I think they was happy to see that as well.
That's really good.
And to be fair, we've got a lot of positive. Where I was visiting, a lot of positive. There was a few negatives because we're not going to please everybody. But there was almost, on the pay, the fact that the pay model, what we can get to achieve after is more that they're looking at. They want to see how much money they're being paid. Yeah. They want to make the invoices a lot clearer, which is fantastic in my eyes. Yeah.
No, that's really good. Thanks for that, Tracy. Ed, I'd like you to come back about these packet racket misbandings and stuff like that and scotch these things, because it seems like in some parts of the country the terminology has changed and is meaning a different thing from when we set out to actually do this earlier this year when we consulted members. Do you want to have a look at that, please, Ed?
Can you hear me okay, mate?
Yeah, perfect, Ed.
Yeah. No, I wasn't sure just with the technical issues. No, I think the thing we need to clear up very quickly is the packet racket was always about misbanded parcels, but now the packet racket seems to have taken on a whole new entity, and a lot of people, a lot of couriers, a lot of our members are saying that it's about the ratio that they're getting. It's not. It's always been about the misbandings. The admin payments were brought in for the work you were doing in weighing and measuring and then going home on a night and putting those and upgrading those on call. That's what that money was for. Now, Hermes have the right and have been pressured by our members to stop the packet racket. As we've seen, some of our members set up a Facebook page to actually gather evidence to put at Hermes. And we didn't set that up, the members set that up. And he's done a fantastic job. That evidence has been pumped into Hermes. It's the members that have demanded the end of the packet racket, which is the misbanding of parcels. Nothing to do with the ratio of packets we're getting. Because let's be honest, everybody's saying we want money on packets. We have no guarantee that those packets are going to stay at that level anyway, at that ratio. Okay, so that's why I think this pay deal is much better, because it gives us an increase right across our bandings. And again, look, don't take my word for it. I have had members come back to me saying that they have seen an increase in standards. So under this pay deal, they will also get a rise because we've put it right across all the bandings. But let's concentrate very much on the fact that the packet racket will now be on the decline. We've asked for it. Hermes have finally started to get a grip of it. But the packet racket is very much about, and always has been, about the misbanding of parcels.
No,
back to you on
very good. No, very good, Ed. And I think people, obviously because there was an increase in packets going through the system, because there was a decline in standards, people then confused the issues between the two in what people were saying. But our understanding was the original packet racket was always about the misbandings, which have been seriously addressed. It's taken us 2 years to get this through the company, and due to Peter and the Facebook site that they've set up, the photographs that were being posted on there, we were able to use that evidence and to get a major change in how things will be moving on. So listen, I think we've all done a little bit of talking here. So Steve, we're going to open up to questions, please. So if we can start to put some of the questions into the system, perhaps we can start to talk to the members that have given up their evening and want to put things forward. Well, fair point. But it's part of the package. You negotiate with a company and it becomes part of the package. We've been demanding a new pay model for some time. What you've currently got is an individualized, exploitative model where you are working alongside colleagues and you're on different rates for doing the same job. Well, surely that's wrong. Surely that's wrong. And people need to know what the proper pay model is. I mean, it's all right saying that. Most people don't even know what the pay model is currently, let alone anything else. And when they try and work it out, it is so much more difficult to work out. And your final point about the 85%. Well, actually, we've got the money right across your PRGs. You deliver more than packets. You deliver standards. There's other people deliver, and there's a lot of couriers now collecting. So that is why it was important to put the rates right across your rates, not just on certain issues. And the other thing is, if we were able to achieve that, what we realized would be that you'd actually be paid in a month in arrears all the time, just doing it by, if you put the increase right across your PRGs, it means you get paid right on and on time. And that is what we're trying to achieve there. Nothing is guaranteed till after May, so why should we trust you? I'm not asking you to trust me at all. And neither are my colleagues. You either agree with the way forward or you don't. The choice is yours. We're not telling you what is right or wrong. We are saying that most people would prefer to have collective negotiated pay. They don't want an individualized pay model. Reject the offer. That is what you get. You get you continue with an individualized pay model that is decided by your CDMs. Ed, do you want to come and can you go back to Amanda's question, please? Because we just missed that. Steve, you can just go back to Amanda's question. So, Ed, do you want to come in and answer this one, please?
I'm just reading it, Mick, sorry. Look, I've got to be honest with you, it's not perfect, like Mick has said. It isn't perfect. What we have to do when we're negotiating, can I just point out to everybody, and I don't think this has been spoken about or released, the company actually wanted everybody that was at a limit of £20,000, and that was going to be the cap. We went back in and fought for a higher percentage. Now, I've got to be honest with you, it's not perfect, but it encompasses 85% of our members will receive a pay rise. Okay? And that's an important number. The majority of our members will receive a pay rise. Okay? And don't forget, those who are only getting 1.5% are getting 1.5% of a much bigger chunk. Yeah? A much bigger base pay. And the other thing is, and if it upsets people, it upsets people. We have to protect those who are on the lowest pay as well. Okay? That's what we have to do. And that's what we are doing. Okay? But again, as Mick has said, we are working partly with a pay model that exploits us, okay? Under a new pay model, all of this exploitation can be written out, okay? So we will all get paid more fairly. And that includes when it comes to pay rises as well. If we're going to do it collectively, we can do it collectively, but if we're all on a fair pay rate, then that makes that much easier as well. And again, this is not just about now, it's building for the future as well. I hope, I appreciate it is not perfect for everybody. I get that, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and try and sell it to you, or to be honest with you, to feed you with a load of bull. It's not perfect, but I think, as we've all said, this is the best deal we can get, okay? We are not going to get a bad deal. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, no, Martin's put a point in there. Bob, what do you think about Martin's point there on the screen about unity and about sticking together?
It's spot on. That's the whole point of a union. The whole point of collective bargaining. It's the very basis of a union. We need to stick together. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Just on that point, just before we move on to the next question, Steve Good. I mean, what is the response being made to members in London region about trying to look at things and sticking together and trying to get a good model that affects everybody properly?
Yeah, well, basically, I've been to a lot of DUs, and yeah, there is a lot of anger. They don't think it's particularly good. But when you sit down and explain to them and say, look, we know it's not the best, but we're looking at the bigger picture. We want to get at the model. We want to get that. We need to get this through to get at the model. Then, to be fair, a lot of them turn around and say, yeah, I can see your point. Yeah, I've changed my mind. Yeah, I'll vote yes. They're voting yes because they want us to change or get at the model to try and change it for the better. I said, look, guys, it's a foot in the door. If we reject this, there's nothing to say. Hermes will say, well, that's your offer for this year. That's it. You haven't got the members behind you. We withdraw it. That's it. It's gone. I said, we've now got the door open. We need to kick the door down, and the only way we can do that is with a yes vote. And they are coming round. You explain it to them, and the couriers do get it.
Okay, I mean, Nick's written an interesting point there about HSP and coal. Susie, what do you think about that point that Nick's written there?
Can I come in, because I think Susie's having problems with our connection, but I've actually been dealing with this with Connor.
Yeah.
There should be no reason that you should be losing any bonuses or anything if you are using coal. I know it's not specifically about the pay deal, but I know couriers are very worried at the moment because and again, at the end, I'd like to just update couriers if we can on a serious pay issue that's come up for this month. But Nick, ETAs will be individual. If you use coal, you should not lose any bonuses. The only way you will lose a bonus is not to sign a parcel off. But the point is, if you don't sign the parcel off, you're not going to get paid for it anyway. So let's concentrate on the pay deal, and I'll come back to that at the end if we've got time, Mick.
Okay. Ian Philby's just come back on something and about the pay model. And, and obviously he's pointed out that couriers do work in different ways, urban, rural, and things like that. Yeah, Ian, you're perfectly right. And that is what's got to also be taken into account in any fair pay model going forward. We know people that work rural who are paid really massively differently, depending on where people are. People that work city centres paid completely differently. So that's what we're referring to. We want to try and standardise things so that people actually know what the rate. And of course, all you as couriers will be helping formulate that model. Carol's sent in an item. Did you manage to pick that up, Emma? Did you manage to see Carol's comment there?
Can we put it on the screen?
Everyone should be. Carol is saying everyone should be paid the same, rural and town, and get supplement every day like in the old days. I mean, it's a point that is being raised, but I think it's a conversation that people really need to have. What do you think about that, Emma?
I completely agree, because some of the town rounds are just as hard as the rural rounds, because sometimes parking is just horrendous in like a busy city centre, or you can't park at all. One courier told me she delivers to Bournemouth town centre, and there's areas where she can't get access by car at all, and she has to walk, and she can only carry whatever she can carry in her arms.
No, very, very fair point. And we do know a number of our members that are delivering in town centres like 300 packages a day. It's not unusual, and of course there are huge differences, and especially with the way rural that has got to be dealt with. So all these things have to be put into the mix and properly worked out. Jane has put a comment up there. Who wants to come in on that? Does Steve? Do you want to come in on that? Steve, good. Hello, Steve. Steve Good? Can you hear me, please? Sorry if there's some technical. Jane White has put a question up there, and can we sort of give her an answer?
You've got to unmute yourself, mate.
Steve, having some technical. All right, listen, Ed, jump in, please.
Yeah, okay, I'll jump in, Mick, while we get.
I'm trying to get as many questions answered as possible.
Yeah, let's roll through them, Mick. Right, yeah. I get that the package, you want the same size as standards. We do too. We absolutely went to town on Hermes, and I've got to be absolutely honest with you, they would not budge on this. Okay, now whether they will in the future, I don't know. We will go back to them, and it's something I think needs to be addressed. We actually use the phrase the industrial standard. They will not budge on this, so we have to move on, and we have to do what we can while they will not budge on this. And I think this pay deal with the new model is the best way forward.
Okay.
Right, Kirsty. Yeah, I'm soulless too, so I'm probably the perfect one to answer that. We just send them back the next day. It's not a problem. I do it already. Simple as that.
Okay. Shall we rattle through a few more of the questions that are coming up? I think there's some interesting ones there.
Have you tried to get in an ink
lately? INC.
I haven't, because if I have a problem, I'm just going to go straight to call like I do. That's what we've advised. I've posted it. I don't know how many times on the WhatsApps today. If you're having problems with the app, scrap the app and use call. Right? Now, just to answer one of the things that have come up today, why haven't the union asked all members not to use the app? I think that's been answered on the WhatsApps today, because some careers actually, the app is working for them and they want to use it. It's not our job to remove people's choice or our members' choice. If they want to use the app, that's fine. Those who are having problems with the app, I'll say it again, please use call. I can't say it any plainer than that.
James, Steve, you're going a little bit too quick with some of the questions at the bottom. James asked a question there, about the size. What do you think about that, Tracy?
The size and weights need to reflect what the customer pays. But to be fair, I asked this question as well. As you all know, I'm a courier as well. I mean, I've used Hermes, and I pay a certain amount of money to send my parcel, and I only get paid 50 odd pence. This is what the question that all couriers are asking, and that's all of us on here as well. So this can be opened up when we get onto the pay model. This is the questions we can be asking and putting to the company. But unless we get there, there's nothing we can do about it, as in what the customer's paying.
Right, well, I've got to pause very quick. Sorry, go on.
We need it pushed through the vote as yes, so we can get our foot in the front door on that pay model.
Okay. Ed, you were going to come in?
Veritas, I don't know who you are. Can you send me an email? Because there is no reason you need an INC number to update on call. Call is open for everybody, right till after peak. Mick spoke to the company, and that is absolutely, you do not need an INC number. Whoever's telling you that is wrong. If you want to give me the information, I will sort it for you.
Okay. Well, to be honest, you know, there are people that are saying it's about that the packet racket is about volume and it is about misbands. No, it was always about misbands.
Misbands, always.
It's about packages being sent through the system and the system then paying the courier wrong. And then when they were having to upgrade, having to do it in their own time. So that's why we negotiated payments for the upgrade. So it was always about attacking the wrongly banded parcels, because that's what couriers get paid on by the end of the day. So it wasn't about the volume. We want more volume being sent through the network. We want more security of employment for couriers. You know, this is what people don't understand. With the self-employed exploitative gig model, there is no guaranteed work tomorrow. There is no guaranteed work tomorrow for people. So actually, we want more work to be sent through the system, and to be, because we want to see people being paid higher, and we want to see guaranteed work for people doing a good job. So volume is really important in a lot of respects, but we want to see volume with the other packages as well, such as the standards and things like that. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that. Emma, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Mick.
Okay. Ed, there's a couple of questions here. Of people saying about pay cuts and SE plus pensions and sick pay, that we're going to be negotiating pay cuts, and that we negotiated a pay cut for people to get holiday pay. Well,
right, we didn't. Straight and simple. Because, right, well, okay, let me just put this to bed once and for all, right? The two people that negotiated SE Plus are actually on this meeting, and that's myself and Mick. Never in a month of Sundays would me and Mick sit in any negotiation and organise, negotiate, or agree to a pay cut. We just don't do it, okay? Right, I know some people, well, to go SE Plus, you had a rate reduction. This was an offer from the company for you to undertake a new contract with more benefits, okay? And I'm going to be really honest here. The benefits outweigh that pay cut, okay? I know people are going to come back at me and say I'm talking a load of rubbish, but I've yet anybody to prove that that's the case, that you do not get back what you put in and more, okay? So if anybody wants to prove that to me, send me the details and we will have a look at it, because I'm yet to have anybody prove that to me, okay? It's just a simple fact. But if you think me and Mick would ever sit in a meeting, or in fact, Tracy, Emma, Susie, Angela, Bob would sit in a meeting, right, and organise, negotiate, or agree to pay cuts for couriers, well, I'm sorry, you are sadly mistaken. And can I just be honest with you? Why would we? I'll leave Mick out of this one, right? But Emma, Susie, Tracy, Angela, Bob, Jason, and I, we are couriers. Why would I sit in a meeting and organise and negotiate a pay cut for myself? Or any of the other reps? Why would they agree to that? This is our pay deal too, okay? And I'm going to be very honest with you. We sat in a meeting and we got a 3.5% pay increase, okay? For some couriers, this will be the first pay increase they've ever had. Let's not forget that, right? And just to give you some statistics on that, I asked you all on WhatsApp some time ago to send me if your email if you'd had a rejection on your rate review, right? and what was the phrase? Out of budget, right? Some of those emails came back within 24 minutes, I think was the fastest. Nobody, I hate to tell you guys and girls, nobody had even looked at those pay rate reviews. Never even done it for you. You were just rejected out of hand without any consideration. Now, shocking statistic, 2,791 couriers sent me their rejection emails and did not get an individual, as Mick has said tonight, an individual rate rise. That was your negotiation gone now for 6 months, right? Now in 6 months' time, you'll do the same thing and you'll get the same answer probably, out of budget, right? So that's your year gone round without a single pay rise. Collectively, we've got 3.5%, right? You can say it's not good enough. I want more, yeah? I've had couriers say to me, I'm worth 10%. Can I be honest with you? I think every one of you is worth more than that, okay? But we have to negotiate with the company. Okay, and we did our best. Okay, but for 2,791 couriers, 3.5% is a pay rise they didn't get doing it individually. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I just want to clear this up. I mean, there are some people saying that they've had rate cuts because they've gone SE plus, but we haven't negotiated that. There is no negotiation there, and the fact of the matter is, it's all about, at the end of the day, getting collective bargaining. That's what we try to tell people. There isn't such a thing as proper collective bargaining in this company. That is what the pay model is all about. Is about advancing forward on collective bargaining. Because at the moment, the CDM has the right to negotiate with you individually. And that is what's taking place. And that is what we want to get rid of.
Yeah, I think it's smoke and mirrors, Mick, is what it is.
Well, yeah, it is. But I can understand some people, being mistaken about these things. But that's not what this is about. What we're trying to do is move away from that individualized, so-called pay bargaining, where actually people are just getting pay cuts in some respects, and that is what we want to stop.
And not only that, you got Mick, you've got CDMs out there. You've got CDMs out there that favour other people over other people and will give them their rate increase and not others. And that's what we need to step away from, where it's out of the CDM.
Can I just come back at you there, Tracy? Because I think you've hit the nail on the head, right? And can I be honest with you? There's a lot of couriers out there who are not being paid fairly, right? Definitely. Not because you aren't working hard enough, not because you aren't doing a volume. Can I be honest with you? And I know Mick might get upset with me now, but because of your sex.
Yeah, as well.
And I think females are not paid as much as males. Now that's a big statement. And I think worse than that, there is even male on male who are not paid when they're doing exactly the same work. This model that we work under exploits us. It discriminates against us, and we now have the door open with a yes vote to tear that up. Now, Mick will tell you, and I'm going to watch Mick because I'm sure he's going to nod in a sec. I said to Mick, when we first negotiated SE Plus, I want that model. I want that model. I want it tearing up because it does not work. Hermes took me through it in fine detail. It does not work, right? And I said to Mick, can I get at the model? And he went to me, Ed, what are you going to replace it with? And I went, yeah, fair point. We now have a full national committee. We now have thousands of members who will input into that new model. It is the only way forward, okay? Now, if you think I'm sort of angry about it, I am, because I have wanted this model tearing up from the day I saw it, okay? Because me, you, Bob, Angela, Kirsty, whoever, Matt Finch, Nick Tomlinson, we are not paid fairly under this pay model. It needs to go. The yes vote will see it out the door. And we will get chance, as couriers, because we're the ones doing the work, this is our pay deal, we are the ones who will now get chance to sit down, all of us together, and work out what that new pay model should be. If that's not a way forward, then we're not looking down the right avenue, I'll tell you. We have to get rid of this pay model. Sorry, Mick, I got on a rant there, sorry.
No. I think it's important that there is passion in this debate, because people need to understand that you're at heart you're a courier, and it affects you. It affects you as well as everybody else.
Yeah.
And of course, there have been some people making some, shall we say, remarks that perhaps if they look back at what they've written after a certain time on an evening, that they probably think, well, I wouldn't have wrote that, or I wouldn't have said that in that way. So, no, I mean, at the end of the day, it is all about doing things. Angela, there's a couple of other comments coming in on this, and I mean, G&B will consult members, and it says, and just ignore us, like with this pay deal. Well, I don't think we are ignoring anybody. I don't know what you think, Angela.
Well, I definitely don't think we're ignoring everybody. Everybody has a voice. The thing is, they have to contact us if they've got an issue.
Yeah, I think that's a point. I mean, there'll be some people that say, well, we are trying to contact people, and there's different ways of doing it, and sometimes, it falls through the cracks and things like that. But, I mean, how many meetings have you just done recently, and how many members that you've done with DU visits and stuff like that? I mean, let's squash this rumours that people are ignoring people.
Well, we've been non-stop since the 22nd, Bob and I, on DU visits and Zoom meetings, and we've never stopped. As well as still seeing to people's personal issues.
Yeah. No, and I think that's what people do need to understand, because it's very easy to, pick out the same remarks that other people make sometimes, and just ape those publicly, and and people don't get that. Actually, you've all been going out there. I mean, Tracy, how many delivery unit visits have you done in recent weeks, and other meetings and things like that? How many people have you come across talking to people about this? And are you getting the accusation that you're not listening to people?
To be fair, no. I haven't. People have been very polite. They, some of them obviously have been happy to talk to me because they didn't quite understand the pay model, the pay negotiation, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to get through, the 3.5, the 1.5. They didn't understand, and a lot of them wasn't even G&B members as well. And they have now joined because they want to say on what they're getting paid and how we go forward. So, no, and I've delivered quite a few, been to quite a few delivery units, and I haven't come across anybody feeling that they haven't been listened to, that we're not taking into consideration their voice.
Yeah. I mean, there's a question that's just been posed here by Veritas, and it says, Angela, you have stated people have to contact you. I requested information regarding the pay deal at a Zoom meeting with Lorraine Gaskell, but he is not able to answer my questions as he is not at work. Well, can I just say something? Firstly, Veritas, Lorraine is a woman, not a he. And secondly, Lorraine has asked for certain information today because I know she's going to be sending stuff out to the region. So she has been answering points. I know this has been taking place. Sometimes I think what people need to don't confuse issues with. When people are answering, you may not like that answer. So it's not about choosing the answer that you like. It is that you've had an answer and it's an honest answer. And people like Lorraine have been doing this and meeting members in the last few weeks. So I think that comment's a bit unfair, mate. Go on, Ed. There's one or two other things that have been picked up. What do you think some of the burning issues are with certain people on the chat group?
Look, I've got to be very honest. There's somebody just put a comment up there that when Hermes won't move, we should use the media and parliamentary pressure. Why do you think we are where we are now? Right? Why do you think we sat in this meeting? Right? Because can I tell you something? Unless we went through, but I don't know where to start. We went to the select committee. We then went to, I don't know how many media, the Guardian, the Mirror, the Sun, the Express, the Times. I think we've done them all, haven't we, Mick? You know, to actually get Hermes even to sign an agreement with the GMB to actually represent us. Okay. We then, you know, me and Mick met many moons ago, and we talked about a tribunal. That has led us to here. We have been through the courts. We have been through Parliament. We have been through the press. Okay. We now have a proper method of negotiation with the company. Right. Now, you may not trust it. You may not like it. You may not think it's effective. I've heard all those comments. I think it is very effective, because I'm going to say this. Which courier on this meeting tonight can honestly say they've negotiated with this company and been really successful, right? Because I wasn't. I tried. I rattled on for years, even to find out the equation that's now in the back of the agreement, to find out how I was paid. I was told, if I want to find out how I was paid, I can leave immediately. Okay? That's the way we've been treated. Now we have the GMB, and we're recognized. You know, it's a recognized union. It's got an agreement with the company, right? And this is what I'm saying again. The way forward is through us acting collectively. Okay? Yeah. That is the only way forward. If anyone on this meeting tonight thinks they can tackle Hermes by themselves, I'll tell you now, you're talking rubbish. That upsets you. That upsets you. Okay? You are talking rubbish. I've seen people on here tonight saying, we've not got our SOS payment. You want SOS payments? You send me your details, I will go and chase that money. Susie has just had a spreadsheet back from Connor and has just got just over £2,500 back in SOS payments for couriers who could not do it by themselves. Okay? So let's be very clear, right? It's all about working as a collective. We really need to pull together on this. And a yes vote in this pay deal really sets the stage for us to do that. And even right down through our pay to actually get a new pay model. It's our only way forward. Let me be honest.
No, and the thing is, it is all about unity and showing solidarity between each other. It's very easy when people have been working in a very dog-eat-dog, cutthroat system where some people think somebody may be getting one over on the other person, and it's all about putting food on the table and paying the rent. It can breed some funny behaviours, and that is why we're trying to say, look, it's not easy and it can be difficult, but collectivism is the way forward, because what it does mean is that people have that chance to try and right a wrong and to get workplace justice. And that is what everybody is trying to achieve here. And I know that some people have some different views about how they think that workplace justice can be achieved. But you can only do that from singing from the same hymn sheet. And I would not be saying to work, to people that work in this business and do this for a living, I would not be saying it to you that actually what you need is a new pay model. If it was just for fresh air's sakes, it's not. You've got an individualized pay model that is based on whether the CDM likes you or not at the end of the day. That's what it's all based on. And if they don't like you, they come to you and say, oh, I've been told by my boss, I've got to give you a 15 pence pay cut. But, I've had a word on your behalf and it's 5 pence pay cut instead. Is that all right? How many times have we heard those stories of people coming to people that are low paid and cutting your rates of pay? That's why we want to stop it. That is why we want a guaranteed pay model that pays people good rates. And yes, are we going to achieve utopia overnight? No, we're not. It will take a few years to turn this ship around and to put in place workplace justice. That's what we're here for. That is why we're trying to build, but we can only do that collectively. And that's why it's important to have these stepping stones and in how we achieve that. And we can only do that if we're united and have solidarity between each other. Some more questions. Ed, what do you think?
Mick, can you please? Okay, just wanted some clarity on how you contact the GMB. I think we've agreed, Mick, haven't we? First and foremost, if you want to speak to the GMB or you've got an issue, ring the number on your card. Yeah, your membership card's got a number on it. We really don't want the regions bypassing, okay? Because there's a lot of work. I know we're all national reps, we're also all regional reps. The regions are doing a lot of work and they're getting much more involved with day-to-day issues that the couriers are having. I mean, one of the ones I've worked with recently is Robbie, actually from Susie's region, who I know has been on the case for some couriers today. I've met with Colin today on a DU visit, and again, he really wants to be proactive and working for members in his region. So please don't bypass your regional organisers. And again, don't bypass your regional rep. And I'm going to be absolutely clear and I'm going to absolutely be very honest, okay? Sometimes you don't always get a response from me as fast as you can. The point is, I'm often now answering emails from people outside my region. And look, it was great to start with. I could quite happily cope with 3 or 4 or 500 members, and there was only 3 of us at the time. Now there are thousands of members, and you each have your own national rep. So please make sure you don't bypass them as well, because they're just the same as me. Okay, Angela does the same job as me. She goes to the same meetings as me, as does Emma, as does Tracy. So please contact your own regional rep as well. Okay, I think emails can be posted on WhatsApp groups if that's what you need us to do. But that's the best way to do it. Rather, please, look, I'm asking you all, don't post issues on WhatsApp, because we are couriers working the same as you. We are not sat on WhatsApp 24/7, and that issue then ends up scrolling up out the way. We come back, and I think we've all seen it where there's 600 messages to read. No, look, if contact us direct, and please don't bypass your region. Use the number on your card.
Paul, I'm just going to speak to you directly, Paul. All right, for reps, they get paid expenses for everything, G&B. Well, Paul, if that's what you really think, there's no point in having a discussion with you, because if that's what you really think about your representatives at the end of the day, then what else is there to say? It's just not worth a comment back. So sorry, Paul. It's you're a bit out of order, mate. Let's have a look at Gemma's comment. Do you want to come in on this? LCB contract yet? I have 4 drivers and being paid. Well, we were told, and we keep getting told this. It's going to be another month. It'll be another month. It'll be another month. Look, to be honest with you, I think we're all as fed up as everybody else. We've been, shall we say, led down the garden path on this. We will be taking this up seriously with the company tomorrow. I'm going to go to the chief operating officer and just tell him how many times we've been told we're going to get this contract and we haven't been sent it yet. So we're on the case and we'll deal with that for you tomorrow.
Can I just point out on the end of Gemma's comment, what she just said? A rate review's been ignored. Well, can I be honest with you, Gemma, you're not on your own, and I think it's absolutely disgraceful, because that is your negotiation with the company. It's crap. Let me not be honest. If that word offends people, let me offend people. It's crap, right? The only way forward is to do it collectively. You all deserve to have an annual pay rise that we can do collectively, right? Yeah. Not. And I know Mick gets a little bit upset when I say smoke and mirrors. It is smoke and mirrors. I've done it out of budget that comes back in 24 minutes. Nobody's even read it. I tell you, guys and girls, nobody's even read it. That's what Tracy.
Tracy.
What about mine? Mine came back as, we've given you a rate review, and when I've looked at it, it's the same rate as what I'm on now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we're all having it.
I just want positivity. I just want to answer your point about the WhatsApp groups. Let me just say, it was really unfortunate about what happened, but to be honest, we had to protect members. Their messages were being photoshopped, and they were being sent to the company, and as a result, some people have lost their work. And there's about another 40 odd couriers that are being investigated as well over certain things. We also had another person that was contacted by, shall we say, a company, and was threatened personally. It also led to one of our officers being threatened by some people. We're not having our members being put in harm's way. So you're right. It happened at a particular time. I think people, those in the know, would have known that we would have protected people. And yes, they may have taken advantage of things like that. If they have, it's very unfortunate. But we believe that the vast majority of our members are really good people, and they all want everybody to be successful. It's not just about them. They want everybody to be collectively successful. So we've been able to switch them back on. There are one or two issues still, but we don't police them 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we're not going to. So it is based on trust. So there was nothing untoward about it whatsoever. We just had to protect certain people because we were giving information that people were being targeted by what was being posted on some of the WhatsApp groups. And that's some of our colleagues that were on those WhatsApp groups actually doing that. And it's just not right. Eli, you've talked about pensions. Yeah, well, actually, pensions is a big thing, and it will be part of the issues next year. We have negotiated that. The company have conceded that they will not stop an arrangement on pensions taking place, that they will go ahead with it, and that the full details and the arrangement of the pension that will be offered to couriers is still to be hammered out, but there's a legal process for that anyway. So we will be dealing with that. That's if people vote yes. We'll be dealing with that on a collective basis as well.
Nick posted a message, Nick, just 2 weeks ago about the protected HSP.
Ed, sorry, Ed. You're echoing. You're bouncing around a bit.
Sorry.
Can you adjust your sound a little bit? Because I think it's important what you're going to answer.
Is that better? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a lot better, mate.
Right, yeah. Nick posted a question, and it was about, we didn't get, I can see it on screen now, we didn't get the whole 5 weeks HSP whilst using coal this month. Will it be protected over peak? I just want to very, very quickly go through this because I know a lot of couriers are very worried about it. SOS should happen when you sign off your parcels, right? Even on call, right? ETA will be on an individual basis because the app is now working for many. I know that has upset 1 or 2 people because it's not working for them. Use call in that case. So anybody who hasn't got, Nick, those SOS payments, send us your details. We will go to the company and we will chase those payments for you. And if there's any failure over peak on those bonuses, we will be chasing them down for you. Okay. And as I said, Susie's already gone back and got £2,500 worth of SOS payments. We post them on the WhatsApp. We will keep posting them. Anybody, and again, who hasn't got their SOS payments, and I know even in our visits, I was told today that I haven't had my SOS payment. Did you see our thing on WhatsApp? Sorry, we're not on WhatsApp. So please spread the word, all of you. Tell your colleagues. Those who are members, send Susie or me your details. You'll go on a list. We'll get it back for you. Have we just got 2 seconds, Mick? Because I also want to just do an update for people because I know a lot of people are really worried about a pay issue that Hermes posted out yesterday.
Yeah.
First of all, it will not affect you being paid on Tuesday like you normally are. Okay? But what it is, there will be little or no pay for the 29th, right? Now, we're way ahead of the game here. We have already spoken to Hermes. Now, they were going to mess around with invoices and pay you more with the wrong invoice this time, then take it off your invoice next month. We said no. They're going to pay you your normal invoice on Tuesday. On that will be either a low or no pay for the 29th, right? You will receive an ad hoc invoice for the amount for the 29th the week or two after, right? We are not having all the invoices messed around, because I know there's some of you who need those for VAT, and that is very important. So no, we're not having that messed about, but you will be paid for the 29th. The company are already looking into it, and we will be making sure that that is done and done correctly. You will just get a separate invoice for it, okay? I hope that clears it up for everybody, and everybody's happy with that. That is the best we can do at the moment. I do not want invoices messed about for those on VAT. I want you all paid correctly.
And while you pause for breath, can you just answer Carlos Thompson's question?
Will rates change? Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Can you put it back? Anybody catch it? I didn't catch it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Rates will be changed. I'm back now, Mick. I'm back. Rates will be changed. So your PRG will go up, starting with your standard rate, and then everything will filter down to your package postables, etc., etc., etc. That will come in on period 10 invoice, or period 10, effective from period 10. And I'd just like to actually say to people are saying that they got £200 or £300 last year, and that was a nice incentive perhaps to vote for the pay deal. I've actually been working on invoices from couriers on this. Some couriers actually sent me the right periods. So I've had period 8 through to period 7, a full 12 months worth of invoices. And the actual average increase for a courier, if they'd have had this 3.5% on their invoices, would be in the region of about £800 a year. Now, if Hermes had come and said, here's £800 in one lump sum, couriers would say yes. This is actually more than what a lot of couriers got in the pay deal last year, just because it's split out over the year. It's actually more beneficial. And something else a lot of couriers are confusing, this pay deal isn't based on your tax return that's gone in from April. It's got nothing to do with your tax return. A lot of people seem to be focusing on this went through the pandemic. I had high volumes last year. It's the busiest we've been. Yes, it is based on your high volumes because we've gone through peak, but it's got nothing to do with April to April. This is period 8 to period 7. And a lot of couriers would have seen a drop this year as well in their volumes after Christmas. So we're not basing this on a full 12 months worth of COVID volume. This is period 8 to period 7. So you've got to not think about what's on your tax return. You've got to look at the correct figures. You could have earned £35,000 April to April. You do period 8 to period 7. It could be £28,000. And what we've also got to remember is VAT isn't included either.
Positivity has posted a message about action points and discussions and meetings. Actually, we've been addressing this. Up until the end of last year, we were able to send things out after meetings on a regular basis. Something has happened, and it doesn't matter what the excuse is, and we have not been posting the notes or the action points, and it's something that, yes, you're right, positivity, and one or two other people that have raised this with me privately. It has been something that has been overlooked. We are addressing that, and we're trying to put something up on our website where people will be able to dip into that. They will be able to see notes and discussions and action points and what people have discussed and things like that. So that is being addressed as we speak, and there's going to be a special page that will be put on the G&B Hermes notice board, so people will be able to see these things. So thanks for raising that point. It's an important point. Sorry, we hadn't realized we've been overlooking this, And also with our DCF meetings in your regions as well, we're going to be doing the same with that as well. That when we get all these collated, we're going to be putting that in a special section on the G&B Hermes notice board. Eli keeps raising a point. Sorry, Eli. I know this is probably the second time you just raised it this evening about earlier times for slots and earlier lorries. Well, lorries is a little bit different because that's from the direct employed side of the business. So, you know, we're not really sort of able to guarantee certain things like that. But one of the things that we are talking about and we've raised with the company is what actually constitutes and determines what the opening time of a DU is and what determines the slots as well. So these are all things that we're trying to get into the mix to have those serious conversations with the company so that people can see what the definitive issues are around that. But when it comes to lorries, I know it's a bugbear with you, Eli, and other people. Sorry, sometimes that it's just out of our hands. It's a completely different side of the business, and there are issues with it. There have been issues with it for many years, and I think the HGV situation, in some respects, is potentially going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Can I just come in there, Mick, just to answer one or two questions because they're fairly linked. Darren has said, am I right in thinking that we have to get upgrades approved at the DU? This won't be practical. I think D has said, why aren't we answering any questions or about the pay deal and upgrades? Okay, let me try and clear that up for you. In the pay deal, it's very clear that missed bands are now going to be audited, weighed and measured by Hermes and banded correctly. Therefore, in theory, the bandings will be correct. Can I be honest with you? It won't be 100% perfect. The amount of volume Hermes deal with, there will be some slip through the net. Okay? Now, two things. One, we are not looking at, or we shouldn't be looking at the massive amount that you have to do now. In theory, it should be 1 or 2 a day. It may be more. I'm not going to guarantee a volume. The upgrade system will not change. In fact, it gets better, right? Because you can upgrade if you want to, exactly as you do now, and get that payment put through and the admin payment with it. Or you can leave the parcel at the DU. It's not a matter of you getting it approved. What you're saying is, you're disputing that. I'm leaving it at the DU for you to upgrade. Send it back to me when it's banded correctly, and I'll deliver it. And that's part of the deal. Now, we asked for this quite a while ago, and a lot of couriers have been worried about doing it. You know, leave it for Hermes to sort out. If they're not going to pay your upgrades correctly, if you remember, when they didn't, leave it at the deal, let them sort it. A lot of couriers were worried, and I know some were threatened that if you don't take it, this will be officially part of the deal. If you want to upgrade as you do now, great. If you don't, and you want to leave it for Hermes to do, you can also do that. I hope that clears up any misconception about the upgrades under the pay deal. It's not going away. We're not stopping it. It's exactly the same. But there's the added thing that if you don't want to be hassled and you want Hermes to do it, which is their job, you can leave it at the DU. Or, and as I think Kirsty said, being soulless, we can send it back on a van and let them do it. So I hope that clears that up.
Yeah, there's a couple that are raising very similar questions about, will anybody get a pay cut with the new pay model? Can you guarantee that no one will get a pay cut? Well, that is why we want to talk to everybody. We want an honest conversation with our members on what do they think the fairest system for a new model should be. We've got ideas. We've all got ideas. And you know, there'll be some passionate discussions around that about what is fair. So if anybody thinks that we are going to be walking into a series of negotiations, that is if you give us permission to do that, and you can only give us permission to do that if you vote yes. Well, we're not walking into a series of negotiations to negotiate pay cuts. We don't negotiate pay cuts. It's Hermes CDMs that give you pay cuts because you have an individualized pay model at this moment in time, not a collective pay model. So that's why we want to alter it. So can I give you a guarantee? Well, yeah, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to give you a guarantee. I will never negotiate pay cuts for people. It's not what I do as a trade unionist. It's not what I've done in over 40 years of trade union activism. I've never negotiated pay cuts. And I think, you know, everybody knows where I now clearly stand on these things. So,
and can I just say, Mick, as part of this negotiating team, I will never, ever negotiate a rate cut for couriers for the simple reason I am one. I am a courier, and I'm not going to sit there and negotiate a rate cut for myself or Tracy or Susie or Nick or Mark or Pat or Ad. I'm just not going to do it. Okay.
Can I also just want to clear up a misunderstanding, because somebody keeps posting the same thing. Bank holiday payments cut in half. We didn't negotiate those bank holiday payments, what people were paid last year. That's what the company gave you to deliver during the pandemic. They weren't negotiated, and nobody complained about it. So there was no bank holiday payment. It was up to the whims of the company whether they paid something extra. And because they wanted people to go in and volunteer, that is what they offered. Now, they didn't even want to offer a payment, and they wanted you to work mandatory bank holidays. So, Mark, you've got it wrong there. You know, you have got it wrong. There was never a negotiation in the past. It was take it or leave it. So that's what the situation is. And the vast majority of our members don't want to work bank holidays. They want them off. So there's the issue. And by the way, couriers can still deal and deliver the packages the next day and still get paid for it if they want to earn extra money. There's lots of ways of doing it, and it's up to people what they would prefer to do.
Very quickly, Mick, while you pause for breath there, Ian, I know you've addressed it to Mick, but can I just jump in there? You send me their names. Those who want to switch to SC Plus, I'll deal with it. Yeah. Not a problem.
Fair point, Ian. Thanks for that. And positivity again. If you haven't got Hermes to agree this, well, we haven't been given permission by our members yet. I'm not bothered about what Hermes think at this moment in time. I'm bothered about what our members think. And if people don't vote yes, then we won't be going forward with any pay model. And by the way, the pay protection is taken away after February. It's taken away after February. It doesn't exist after then. And what we're trying to do is in getting that in a future pay model is that there will never be any pay cuts for the future. We want that in black and white. And I think most couriers will support us 100% on trying to get things like that in black and white.
Carl's just said, will the fact that the bank holidays continue to be voluntary? It's part of the pay deal. It is absolutely part of the pay deal.
It says voluntary working. It says voluntary working. If you
it says voluntary working, so it's in writing and in the pay deal.
Yeah. So it's there. Very, very good point. No, it's a very good point, Cal. So please, do look at the paperwork. You've all got all this stuff on email. It's important that everybody reads things and makes their mind up around those issues. And what we just want to do, just go around the team just for some closing comments and some remarks. Please, people, do continue to send your questions in and things like that, and we'll send out some frequently asked questions. We'll do it all in a block load so everybody can see what we're doing. So, Tracy, just your closing observations and words.
My closing observations, the questions that have been asked are, fair.
Yeah.
They've been fair. And my closing bit would be, who wouldn't want, as a courier, a pay rise? That you don't have to go and sit in front of your CDM, get belittled, and then let him tell you that you're not worth the money. You're getting it just to say yes. We can deal with the others as soon as we've got a foot in the door. My vote's yes.
Yeah, okay. Emma.
Hi, Mick. We need to all be a collective. Isn't that why everyone joined a union? And it's the only way forward, really. My vote is yes.
Brilliant. Stephen Good. Hello there, Stephen. Stop hiding behind your camera. Get that football match switched off. Oh, God. You're on mute, mate. Oh, sound problems still. Okay. Are you there, Stephen? No. Okay. Susie, we'll go to you.
I'd just like to say Rome wasn't built in a day, really, Mick. It may not be what everybody was expecting, but for the first time in Hermes history, this is an across-the-board pay rise for the majority of SE Plus couriers. And like Tracy says, what's not to like about a 3.5% pay rise? Are you going to say no and have a across-the-board 0% pay rise, or are you going to say yes and have a 3.5% for 85% worth of couriers? You can say Rome wasn't built in a day. It's a stepping stone.
Thanks for that. Ed, your closing remarks and observations, please.
Look, I could sit here and say, right, I'm going to try and sell you a pay deal. We are not in the business. We are not salesmen, okay? I'm a courier. Fair enough, I'm the chair of the national reps, okay? The pay deal isn't perfect. I don't think, in all honesty, we will ever have a perfect pay deal because we would always want more. In fact, I want our members to want more, okay? Because I actually think our members are worth more, okay? Hermes, not quite so sure about that, but I think our members are worth more. I think our members are worth a new pay deal that does not exploit them. It is your pay. I think you should have the say on how you are paid. The door is now open for that to happen. Do not, please, I'm begging you, do not waste this opportunity, right? It is a way forward. Susie said Rome is built in a day. I totally agree. Mick has already said we have the agreement is 2 years old. It's a baby agreement. It's in its infancy. We have a long way to go, but we are now on the road, right? We have, for once, broke the back of the fact that they said we could not negotiate careers pay. We've done that. We've brought the back of it. Now let's build a pay deal that is collective, that sees us have proper pay deals every year. And can I be honest with you, some people have asked tonight, can we guarantee there's not going to be pay cuts? We don't want pay cuts. If you think anyone on this meeting or on this panel tonight want pay cuts, I don't. There's no way I want my pay cut. Mick has already said in 40 years of being a GMB member, he's never ever cut or negotiated rate cuts. I will never ever negotiate a rate cut for our members. Never. Okay? Vote yes for this pay deal. The door is open. And we have a future, and that's how we move forward. We cannot stay as we are. The time to move forward and get ourselves a totally new pay model that pays us fairly for the work we do. A fair day's pay for a fair day's work. And on that, good night.
Can I just say to everybody, thank you for joining us. Can I say to everybody, thank you for the points that you've raised. And I just want to make this point. There are some people pretending that nobody's listening, and they're making it out as though we're deliberately not listening to people. Well, actually, we do. But, we listen to everybody, not just a few voices. So we do listen to everybody, and we do factor some of the things that have obviously been said. And, one point has just been raised. Well, if you're not going to sell it, then why is it such a good deal? I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not a snake oil salesman. That's not my job. My job is to try and get the best deal. And as long as everybody knows what they are accepting, that's fine. And if everybody understands what they may rejecting, well, at least do it with your eyes wide open. You have the right to reject as well as accept. I think you are making a major mistake if you reject. But you're over 18. It's your choice to make. You know, my father used to say to me, "You're over 18 now, son. Get on with life. You know, stop looking for me to sort of give you direction. That's how things are in life. So, you know, you have the right. But for the first time, you know, you've got a choice whether you vote yes or vote no. 2 years ago, you didn't have that choice. Your voice wasn't included. Your voice wasn't listened to. You were completely ignored. This is the first time an across-the-board pay offer, wish it could be more, has been offered to self-employed people in a gig economy company. Never mind Hermes, a gig economy company. It does not happen elsewhere. And that is what we've all tried to achieve. Perfect? No, it's not. But is it a bloody good start? Well, it is for 85% of our members that are paid below 30,000 a year. It's a great start for them. And yes, they will be able to put more food on the table. And yes, they will be able to pay the rent. That's a great start. That is worth, in real terms, £10 million. That is what is being pumped into the rates. £10 million. And that's just for starters. So there's lots of things that can take place. And there's lots of things that, yes, we can improve on. But do you know something? It's about getting the deal across the line. And it's about people saying, I want to get rid of the individual pay rates that my CDM tells me I'm having. And that you will get a pay cut. And if you don't accept this, well, there's nothing else we can do, because, as you know, if you don't accept those pay cuts, you've lost your work, because that's the dog-eat-dog exploitative model world that, unfortunately, you're working in. And that is why we're trying to change this model. We're trying to make behaviors better. We're trying to get you respect. We're trying to give you workplace justice. And yeah, I wish we could do everything all at once, but that's not possible. It's about where we want to be. And I said to Ed and a few people a couple of years ago, I know it's difficult at this moment in time, but think where you might be in a couple of years' time, and then look backwards and then look at what's been achieved. We have come a long way in the last couple of years. We've achieved a lot for certain people, and we all of us want to achieve more for everyone. Thank you tonight. Thank you for your questions. Absolutely brilliant stuff that you've sent in, and lots of comments that you've also dealt with. If you think we're not answering you, well, I'm sorry but I think we've tried to cover all the salient points that have been asked. And yes, Jim, you're going to vote against. And by the way, that's your right. That is your right. And remember, it was this trade union that gave you the right to either vote yes or vote no. Hermes, they wouldn't have given you a red cent, mate. And they wouldn't have even given you a vote. They would have said, that's it, like it or lump it. And if you don't like it, go get a job elsewhere. That is what they would have said. What we are trying to do is bring fairness to the network. And I get some people will disagree with that along the way. As long as it's not personal, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing sometimes, as long as we're not disagreeable, because we're all members of the same union. And I do believe that even if there are disagreements at times, we all want the same things. So the ballot papers will be issued sometime tomorrow late afternoon. Hopefully that will take place in a smooth way. There will be mandatory information that people will have to supply, because we need to check that. Please, what I'm going to say to people, don't make the information up. If you make the information up, as some people did last time, it will invalidate your vote. And that is being checked by other people. So you need to supply the correct information. If you ain't got the information to hand, do the ballot the next day. You know, there's plenty of time to do this in. There's no rush. And there's going to be more meetings and more consultations with people and more questions to be answered. So thanks, everybody. It's been great. Enjoyed your company. Thanks to all the national reps for giving up your time again and meeting everybody. And we'll see everybody here soon. Take care, everybody. Good evening.
See you later. Bye.
From sunrise until sunset, and dusk until dawn, every minute of every hour of every day, on the front line, it's key workers keeping our country moving, putting themselves at risk to keep others safe, for the vulnerable, for the sick, for the young and the old. We rise to the challenge. We care, we protect, we help, we fix, we deliver for everyone. We will get through this, and it's thanks to our key workers. We're proud to represent heroes, and not all heroes wear capes. Key workers deserve recognition, protection and support. Get us on your side. Join us today.